Hey, you're watching Dujuan Thomas Live, the live show that's pre-recorded. Stay tuned, we got a great guest for you today. Hey, I'm your host, Dujuan Thomas. Welcome back to the show. I'm excited to be back in the studio with you today, and this is going to be a kind of special episode because I have a guest that's we go way back, and also I kind of wanted to honor Black History Month in some way by highlighting a young leader, someone rising in our community that has deep roots in our community, and also kind of mixing that with the culture and music. So today I got a very special guest, Joseph Reeves. This is my cousin. If nobody knows, now you know. So thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm going to try to stay serious because, like I said, we're cousins. We go way back, grew up together, playing wrestling games, watching movies, traveling, everything. I mean, whole nine. Literally grew up together with my Aunt Virginia, your grandmother. She's taking us to the store and everything. We have a deep history. So
definitely. It's kind of all cultivated into what we're doing today, you know, filming. You know, you filmed every day, and then I grew into loving filming as well. So it's full circle.
Definitely. I remember my vlogs, early 2012, 2010, all those videos. So they're still out there, so you can find them. But
definitely.
So today we're going to be talking a lot about you, of course, and then talking about DJing because, you know, you've been rising up as a DJ here in the community and abroad. Like, you travel a lot. So I guess my first question is, when did you fall in love with music, and what made you decide to even become a DJ?
Wow. That might sound like a general question, but it's really deep for me because I honestly wouldn't be able to answer that question until maybe the last couple of years. It kind of was a coast for a while, more of a hobby, something I didn't really fall in love with at first. I kind of just did it just to do it. It started out as a dare. I was I was in middle school, and my mentor, DJ Tan the Man, he's a Paducah native as well, Murray State graduate, and now he resides in Nashville, and he travels all around the world. He was DJing our pep rally at school, and I was in the stands with some friends, and they were like, "Oh, that looks easy," you know? And I was like, "Really? You think so?" So, you know, my 13-year-old self, I went up on the stage, and I was like, "Man, this looks easy," you know, trying to check at him, you know, a little bit. And he was like, "You think so?" So, you know, one thing led to another, and he got my personal contact and my parents' contact, and he gave me some hand-me-down equipment for free. And it wasn't much. It was 2 subs, 2 tops, and a amp. So all I needed was just like a quarter inch, not a quarter inch, but a auxiliary cord to plug into my laptop and then go from there. And I didn't even start with a laptop. I started with an iPad and my phone, and I was running from YouTube on each channel, and I made it work. After a year, I made enough money to where I could buy my own professional sound, and it just blew up from there. So my love grew as I gained more business, and my mom, she was so influential as well with her R&B ethnicity. It really cultivated into who I am today. So I give kudos to my mom, I give kudos to my dad as well. Their music taste was great, and it just impacted, you know, the overall aspect of my DJ life.
Yeah. And speaking on your parents, you know, for those that may not know you or recognize you, which who wouldn't know you or your family, but who is your mother, your father, like your background, and, you know, who you are?
Right. So my mother, Michelle McClure, she is a business owner for well over 25 years at least. She resides right on North Side, on the other side of Big Mike's Barbershop, who is a business owner as well for well over 25 years. And she does hair. She's a cosmetologist, a great one. She specializes in doing natural hair, you know, a good wash and press that all the ladies love to get. So
free commercial right now.
Yeah.
Signature style.
Definitely. And my father, he is a man of many talents.
For sure.
Yeah, so I would say the most influential from his life was his coaching. He coached AAU basketball, nonprofit, for my friends and I from 6th grade to freshman year of high school, and we traveled everywhere. And that aspect was just very groundbreaking and eye-opening. I would say the exposure from that is what aided me And I feel like it's missing in so many childhood homes, is being exposed to different cultures and just variability from other people and meeting, you know, people that are of importance. I got to meet the head coach for the Kansas Jayhawks, Bill Self, because I was playing AAU basketball. I had no aspiration of playing basketball at the next level, but I'll never forget that. And I think, you know, instances like that can just be monumental. So.
Definitely, and that kind of touches on networking. Before we recorded, I was like, you know, we were talking about networking, and that brings me to like Titus O'Neil.
Yeah.
He came to Paducah during Barbecue on the River. I met him. I spoke at an event he was at, and then not even realizing that y'all were in the same fraternity.
Yeah.
So got y'all on the phone. Y'all did y'all stuff. Y'all talked or whatever. And then you ended up meeting him the next day and, you know, discussing what we're going to be talking about later, which is kind of like the television side of your career. But networking is very important, and
it is.
It's good that you've experienced it so far. You know, that's a mighty touch there. And then back to your DJing. So looking back, what was your first real gig, and, you know, did it go how you expected?
If my memory serves me right, I believe my first gig was a middle school dance. My first real gig. I think my first event was my own birthday party, and that was a blast.
Yeah.
I believe so, but I played all the music that I like. I don't know if anybody else had a great sound, but I did. But my first real gig was our middle school dance in 8th grade, and that was when Lil Uzi had just dropped the album, so he was large, he was big. And then who released Lucid Dreams? I cannot remember his name right now, but he passed away a few years ago. But he released Lucid Dreams at that same time, so music was just popping for us as 14-year-olds.
Yeah. How would you describe your DJ style or sound?
I love transitions, smooth transitions to where people can be on the floor and not leave the floor. A lot of DJs don't realize that that art, I guess, and not to, you know, diss on DJs, but it's so many DJs focus on the styles that I would say of our past, and I would say as a young person who DJs mostly for young people, there's some things that are kind of out of touch, and there's some things that I'm not that great at that other DJs may be great at. But what Bill Self taught me was to find one thing, one fundamental, and be the best at that. So that's what I try to do, is be the best at my transitions. So going from one song to the other and finding the right time in that song. You know, you don't got to let the whole song play. You know, you find a good part in the song to where everybody can get their chorus out and their good dance, and then we go right into the next one. Keep going, have a great night. So. And
then speaking on, you know, you said it started kind of like a hobby, but what was that moment that kind of became serious for you?
I would say either my sophomore or junior year of college, really. I had a lot of business, you know, in high school and transitioning into college, but when I touched campus, it really opened my eyes that I'm not as big as who I thought I was. And I had to really work hard to get to where I am today. And I would say even today, I'm not as big as I'm nowhere near as big as where I want to be. But I would say for this area, I'm definitely way ahead of whatever I imagined I could be.
For sure.
So I would say, you know, around that time of maybe 19 or 20 is when I really picked this up as something that could be concrete. I never looked at it like that. I thought that after some time it would blow away. I might sell my equipment, you know, try to influence the next to come up, and I would still like to do that. But as far as my time, it's still now. So.
Your time is now, right?
Yeah, facts.
That John Cena reference is gonna throw me off. But
yeah.
So, you know, how is DJing, like, has it helped shape your discipline, your confidence, your mindset? Has it helped shape you at all?
Man,
or just being a business owner in general, has that helped shape you in a different way?
Honestly, I'm gonna take this a little detour, I would say, to shape my priorities. I have gained some responsibilities becoming a young adult, and I've had to prioritize not only obtaining my responsibilities, but also attaining my peace and what brings me joy. And my DJing business really does that. So I would say that aspect has been affected the most by, you know, these gigs.
Yeah.
So.
And then going back, DJ KURUK, like, where did that name come from? How did you, what's the origins of DJ KURUK?
So this is a kick to my dad. He really, he's actually the sole, the sole reason for that name. We were brainstorming when I first got my hand-me-down equipment, a name, and I didn't want, the generic names like DJ Joe Fresh or, DJ Joe So Cool, DJ Joe Mama. I wanted something unique, something that people might have a hard time understanding or pronouncing, something that'll stick.
Yeah.
And people to this day still pronounce it wrong, DJ KURUK, DJ KURUK, and I mean, that's close, that's being picky on my end, but DJ KURUK, KURUK, and it's simple. You can Google it. It's Native American for grizzly bear, and it ties into a show that I watched as an adolescent called Avatar. And this is not, the movie that most people know, but the animated series that I'm sure you watched as well. Yeah. And there was a character that wore a bear skin over his head, and his name was KURUK. So it's simple. It ties into my roots as being a Native American. It ties into my rich history of my hair that I had to let go. For specific reasons. So
through your fraternity.
Yes, through my fraternity.
Yeah, and I guess we could touch on that too, because of course, if everybody knows Joe, they know he had super long hair, longer than mine. And what was it like transitioning to that through college, like joining that fraternity and everything, and having to let go of something that was so iconic to you?
It was a time long coming. I made amends with that long before I had to let go of it. And it was pretty surreal in the time that it happened. My whole purpose for a pleasure to my fraternity were how impactful our brothers are within the community and what I saw firsthand. A lot of people make these decisions and don't really know themselves or don't really know their purpose. And I knew that well before I even made this decision, well before I would say I even touched campus. So this was just, something I felt was right. And when I, ultimately made the decision, it was fine. It was no issue. My mom, she had it the worst, but she still has my hair that I cut. She has my hair that I cut when I was younger, and now she has my hair that I cut as an adult. And she'll never let go of that. So.
And now, you go to Murray State, full ride. You're doing a great job there, and you started getting into television production.
Right.
So, with that, touch on that, because I know I just did a show, one of your shows. It's channel?
Oh, it was MSU Tonight.
MSU Tonight. So y'all had me on there talking about my stint on Guts and Glory, the reality show, and my role as commissioner and everything. So how has it been, doing stuff like that, TV production?
TV production grew while I was in high school at Tillman. We had started a little production that has grown to something monumental called PTTV. And it kind of stimulated from one of my instructors within Tillman, and then a former cast member from WPSD who retired, Mike Spissinger, who now teaches at Tillman as well. He came over to the high school, and we had a one-man show. Really, it was just me running camera, and then we grew with our, cast, and I won't say cast, cast, I guess, and it's grown to something great now. They're doing great stuff over there. And then once I touched campus at Murray, I was a computer science field at first, and it didn't reside right with me. And I found out about our television production major, and I switched over in my second semester. And a side note, I had a 1.5 GPA before.
Oh, wow.
Yes, before I switched over. And, within the next 2 semesters, my GPA rose to above a 3.2 or so. And now I'm sitting right under a 3.5. Yeah. Hopefully I'll finish with a 3.5 this semester so I can finish with honors. Yeah. Yes, finding, this major has just been great for me, and it's grew my love for broadcast, for sports. I have a sports communications minor, and I've done some great networking these last couple years to where I now freelance outside of our school, doing broadcasts for ESPN. So you know, a lot of production that I do is not only just on ESPN Plus, but it's on cable, ESPN2, ESPN, and I'm hoping to grow within that even more.
Definitely. And that was going to lead to my next question. So how did the opportunity with ESPN even come about?
Networking, just knowing people who know people.
That's it.
My instructor presented me with the opportunity. It started small, but it grew quickly. I started doing film not independently, but privately for our football team. And that aspect grew until my contact being shared with this group, this company out of Indiana called Tupelo Hunting, who work a lot of OVC, Ohio Valley Conference games and Missouri Valley Conference games. And they, I guess I would say, started booking me for, you know, separate events. And it's been well over a year now that I've been working for them.
That's amazing. And so, you know, you had a football background, like you played all through school. I used to travel with you and take tapes of you and everything. So what has it been like, you know, now being in a position where you're on the other side of the field and like you're actually capturing the moments versus being on the field? I guess, do you got some better you know, you kind of know what to look for, know what to tape, or how's that work?
Honestly, it's very rewarding. I would say my mom, she asked me all the time, do I miss playing football? And I would say, you know, I miss specific moments, but I really love what I do now.
Yeah.
And it is an advantage, you know, playing the game and understanding the game. That's helped with, you know, my shots. And, you know, I got put into a role at a high prestige the very first day, like no exaggeration. I was supposed to just be a utility guy my very first day, and whoever was supposed to work the hard cam that day, he didn't show up. I don't know what happened. So they got on the call and asked me if I would like to be upgraded to the hard cam position. And I had the gist of it, but I mean, I had never worked for a production of, you know, that ability and worked, you know, the hard cam before. Their cameras are 3 times larger than our in-house production for Murray, and it was a lot of pressure. You know, this is cable television. You know, if I miss this shot, somebody sitting on their couch is going to lose his mind. So, and it was fun. I got a lot of praise. You know, of course, I got some feedback, some things I could work on, but that's been my main job, you know, since then, is working the hard cam.
Yeah. And so what does a typical day look like when you're working for ESPN?
It's long, but it's fun.
Yeah.
We just had a production this past weekend. I can't remember who we played, but it was a Murray State men's home game. And we get there about 6 hours before tip, just going through the motion, getting things set up. There's a lot to it. Setup is way longer than breakdown. Breakdown is influenced by everybody ready to go home. But it's not much to it, really, you know, just a lot of cables and lenses. And
so what have you learned behind the scenes that most people probably wouldn't see?
Man, the amount that goes into the production that people don't realize. I've worked several different jobs behind the scenes that people couldn't even fathom. You know, you got replay, you got graphics, you got switcher, you got camera operator, you got utility. There's so many jobs, and I've worked them all, and they're all, I wouldn't say equal in effort, but they're equal in its importance. And one man's job cannot be done by another. You know, somebody has to be somewhere doing that one job, you know, and a lot of people think that, you know, it takes a couple guys and it's not that hard, you know, and I wouldn't say our job is just as important as those on the court, but I mean, we're both working hard, you know, to bring entertainment to those at home. So that's my biggest piece on that, and that's what made me fall in love with doing production. I used to be the one on the field, on the court, and now I'm behind the scenes, and my knees love me, and my elbows love me, so yeah.
And has DJing, has that helped transition you into this, or is there some similarities between it and TV production? Or?
There are some similarities, and it might sound a little geeky, but I mean, like running cables, you know, things of that aspect, being neat, understanding audio, things like that, you know, aid me a lot in my other field. So they do correlate in some aspects.
Sure. And do you see this as like a ladder up, or do you anticipate moving up the ladder to say with ESPN or any kind of production job, I guess?
Definitely, yes. I will definitely move up the ladder. My ultimate dream job is to work with the WWE doing production. We've been fans since we were little, and I mean, that's the goal.
Definitely.
Is to travel and have fun.
Yeah.
So.
And it just goes back to that networking piece. It's not about what you know, it's oftentimes who you know. So just continuing to meet people, and like that Titus O'Neil thing, that was a big thing there. But it's crazy because you never realize how small the world really is. Like who may know this person and who may know that person. Because like I was sharing before we filmed, somebody that works for the city, his dad's best friend is the head of security of WWE, and he's from Paducah.
Exactly.
So like, the world is really close-knit when you really think about it, but it just takes not being afraid to talk, not being afraid to meet people. And that's one thing I can say about myself and yourself, because you've always been a personable person.
Thank you.
It's easy to talk to people, and that really does help.
I mean, it's great when you have Dujuan Thomas as your big cousin.
Yeah.
So,
right.
yeah, duh.
So, and maybe I've had a little bit of influence because Ginger, she always tells me that she was an influence for me wanting to get into politics and film, because she used to film back in the day with the, the VHS cameras.
Right.
And I guess I could say I've kind of influenced you maybe a little bit. So
it's just in the family.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then we're getting close to the end of the show, but one question is, what drives you more? Passion, impact, money, or legacy?
If you want me to be honest, I'll definitely say passion. My passion is what drives me. I used to be driven by money, hence why I took a computer science field at first.
Right.
I was like, oh, this is so lucrative. I'm hearing guys are coming out of college making six figures, first year, and I'm like, that I want to be that guy.
Yeah.
And then I got to doing all of this coding. I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy at all. So I take what I have and I make the most out of it. And I think you could touch I think you can touch the amount of money that you really want if you set your mind to it.
Yeah.
So, I take my jobs and I make the most out of it, and I am living comfortably, and I love my lifestyle. So.
Yeah. And that's one thing too that I had to learn myself, because I was never like driven by money, but it doesn't hurt to make money.
Right. Yeah.
And it's nice to have money, be able to afford things, but really passion, that really does help open more doors, I think, because you're doing what you love. And even in my field with politics and things, like it's just serving other people. Like,
yes,
that's my passion. I enjoy serving people. I was raised in the church that way. We both were.
Yes.
And it just translates into my career path now. So it's awesome to be able to find that passion, because a lot of people don't know their passion, and
exactly.
they just work 9 to 5 just for a check. But finding that passion, even I started for free, doing my videography back in the day. I probably would charge $50 for a job that probably would cost $1,000 today. So, but it really did help shape that passion. And then for you, what does success look like personally?
Man.
Making you think today, huh?
Yes, I appreciate it though.
Yeah.
Honestly, you tagging personally at the end, what success means to me is happiness, peace. Those positive aspects, that's what success looks like to me. If you are doing something that brings real joy, genuine joy, nothing fabricated, joy, just that is what, success looks like. And I would say what I do, it just brings me joy,
Man.
I look forward to this today.
Yeah.
I look forward to this, seeing, what all you are doing, that brings me joy. That's what success looks like. I look at you and I see what you're doing and you smile, 9 times out of 10, unless Night is doing something. But that's what success looks like. I go into my mom's salon and she's, communicating with so many people and being impactful in other people's lives, and that's what success looks like. I see my fiance doing her business as well. She's an entrepreneur as well, and she's
Who is she?
Arkesha Smith. Yes, and she is growing her love for what she does, and that's what success looks like. A lot of people like to take success and put it hand in hand in wealth, but that does not always mean success, and it might mean success on paper, but when you take it off of paper and you put it up here and you put it up here, does it really feel like success? Do you really feel like you've made it? I could reside in where I am today with life and be happy, but I want more. So,
man, that is powerful. Like Goodness,
Thank
Joe, philosophical. Dude, huh?
Thank you.
No, but that's so true. And man, these last two questions. So, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Man, owning a home. That's what I really talked about lately. You know, you own a home now.
Yeah.
So that's and you're, you know, give or take 5 years older than me. So that's what I'm driving myself towards now, is owning a home. So that's, you know, that's the next big step. If I were to skip a couple steps, you know, that's it. I saw a graphic where it said, you know, I don't know the exact percentage, but each generation, less people are owning a home by the age of 30. So that's my goal, is to own a home before the age of 30. So
That's it. Hey, you can do it too. If I
Definitely.
did it, you can too.
For sure.
And then my last question, real quick. If you had to give one piece of advice to young creatives watching this, what would it be?
Go for it.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, just go for it, especially if you're young and you have positive influence and those who are willing to pour into you. Take advantage of it, you know. And if you feel like you've missed out on some opportunities, there always will be more opportunities to present themselves, especially the younger you are. And even as you progress in life, you know, there'll still be opportunities that present themselves. And be verbal, speak out, ask for help. I need to do that more myself. But if you find yourself in a passion and something that you think you can, you know, be successful in, just go for it. You know, I never thought that I would be where I am today with the DJing, but here I am. So.
Definitely. Well, Joe, I appreciate you coming on the show. You definitely dropped some gems.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. And for anybody out there that's watching, make sure you can reach out to him on Facebook if you need a DJ for your services. Hey, or if you got a production job for him, hit him up. Joseph Reeves Jr. right there. Thank you for being on the show, and we'll see you in the next one.